Sorry, yo. I have some food in my beard. I just ate. Just eating. We're just gonna let some people get in here before we start to discuss the topic. We'll just give it about 60 seconds for some people to join if anybody wants to join. Um, just the Friday self development live video. Wow. Ground bison. Ground bison and rice. Ground bison is pure gains. Trust me. Okay, everybody. So, welcome to a Capital Hungry Friday Self Development Live webinar. So, this week's topic is discipline and consistency. A very simple topic that gets covered by a lot of people, but even though it's a very easy to understand concept, discipline and consistency, it's something that the majority of the members of society are 100% lacking, right? And it makes sense when you look at the other webinars we've been doing. This is going to pretty much be a connection to the repetition and reprogramming webinar, as well as obviously goes hand in hand with all of the Friday self-development live webinars. So you can just go through that playlist. It's all going to be saved. Yeah, I was just letting people join here. But anyways, I'm going to start now, okay? So this topic for this week, is about discipline and consistency. So majority of people who are on the path of self-development usually hit a ton of roadblocks, but I would say 90% of the roadblocks comes from a personal lack of discipline and consistency. And you really cannot have consistency without discipline. So, in my opinion, obviously there's a textbook definition of discipline, but for me to explain it to everybody in the easiest way possible, being disciplined in something is really taking part in activities or events in whatever industry or field that you don't feel like doing, but you must do because logically it takes you to the next level of success within that skill set, industry, or field, right? So you can see this is very evident in something that's like a universal concept across the board, whether you're a very successful business person, whether you are a top athlete. Like, for example, if you look at somebody like Kobe Bryant, they would always discuss that the majority of the work, the majority of his success came from what people did not see, what was going on behind the curtains, what was going on behind the closed doors when he was putting in that endless hours of work. And that was all work that other people were not willing to do because for him, obviously, he loved what he did. It was a passion for him. But for the majority of people, when you go on a path of self-development, whether you're trying to improve yourself physically or learn a new skill set, and this is what I was touching on in the last webinar, is you're going to face various challenges that are not going to give you that short-term dopamine hit or be enjoyable. It's going to bring your body and mind potentially stress and tension as you're going through a new experience, you're going through change, and what your brain is trying to tell you to do is that this change is not good. Regardless what the change is, usually your brain, for the majority of people, if you're going through some type of drastic change in your life or you're wanting to make a change, your brain is going to signal some type of fear towards you of, wait a second, this change is not good. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure this is the right step to take? This is bringing some pain. This is giving me anxiety, because your brain wants to stay in its current situation where it's being worked the least and it's the most comfortable and already adapted to that situation, because it's really goes back to survival instincts at the end of the day, and especially in modern society with everybody linked to a herd mentality, right? So whatever the herd is doing, it's easier for your brain to observe that stimuli externally and follow the herd and do what is most comfortable and what it's already adapted to. So what discipline does, what introducing discipline and consistency does in your life is has your brain forcibly adapt to new activities, lifestyle, and events that you know yourself will be beneficial for you in the long term. So it's nothing wrong that you're scared to change, or when you're potentially facing some change in your life, you feel fear. That is just your brain being worried about getting out of its currently adapted state and having to adapt to something new. It's natural, right? That's not the issue. The issue is that fear, or that point of pain or point of stress or point of tension, is usually when a person gives up. And as soon as you give up and you follow your emotions, you are lacking any type of discipline, right? And without discipline, you can never be consistent at anything, because 90% of activities or events that are meant to bring you value or growth are always something that is potentially achievable on a long-term basis, right? Like for you to achieve your ideal body and physique, it's not an overnight process. For you to start a business and have that business be successful in whatever its own right, making hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, it's not an overnight process. If you want to be a professional athlete, it is years and years of training. If you are looking to go through the education system and get a high paying salary income career, such as a lawyer or a doctor, for example, it's not an overnight process. It is something that you have to condition yourself to follow and stay adaptive with through that whole process with the discipline and consistency. And the thing is, with something like school, the education system is so already indoctrinated into our society at such an aggressive level that people who go through the school system, or you go through a degree in university, they're already being forced on disciplines and consistency. You have to do these certain projects or certain tests and pass these certain tests and do the homework and do the work. Otherwise, you get a failing grade and all your money goes to waste and you don't get your degree. But the key is that these students, when you're going through the education system, whether they enjoy the course or not, they are forced on certain disciplines that may not be enjoyable. It's not enjoyable to be reading history books or studying literature, and obviously if you're not interested in, or doing certain homework that you're not interested in at all. It's not enjoyable. That's why most people do not actually like school. They go through college and university because family pressures, society pressures, the way the system is developed. Majority of people do not enjoy school. It's not something that gives them a dopamine hit. It's something that they do not enjoy. But what's proven through the school system is, let's just say somebody's going to become a lawyer. They go into schooling to become a lawyer and go through law school. Through that 4 to 6 years, they are forced to be on a disciplinary path of doing their homework, learning the material, getting good grades on the tests, doing the projects, networking, expanding, and so forth, right? And at the end of that, with all those years of consistency following a disciplinary path, they reach an end goal of potentially getting this career and also amassing all of that experience and knowledge to use in the career, which in our society is a high paying income, right? The easy part of that is, if you're guided through that process, in a sense, you are forced on those disciplines because you're paying to go through that degree. You're paying to go to that school, and you are given course material. You're given a curriculum. You're given criteria and standards that you must meet to achieve your end goal. If you do not have the discipline and consistency to sacrifice pleasures to make sure you meet that criteria, you will not achieve that end goal, and it all goes to waste, right? So that is a perfect example of how discipline and consistency will for sure over a period of time, even though the tasks you are doing with the discipline that's creating the consistency are not enjoyable, they are 100% needed for your growth, for your adaptation, for your personal development. The issue is that I see is when you're trying to do something like working out or changing your body or finding success in trading or trying to start your own business, e-commerce, sales, trying to get into investing, trying to learn something new, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, there's not really a set criteria or path of, okay, you must do X, Y, and Z. You have to go deep dive into this industry, into this skill set, and go through the trial and error to learn that. And you have to really be able to be self-aware and self-monitor yourself, right? So the first tip is, and the first thing to understand is when you're going through this change, 90% of the activities you do towards this end goal of having a great body, like for example, let's use the gym as an example. Most people, once they start to work out, a lot of people enjoy working out. It's a great way to relieve stress. It makes them feel better. But to achieve your ideal physique is not just the working out aspect. It's not just the enjoyable aspect. If you just simply focused on only working out and you didn't focus on getting the proper rest or getting the proper nutrition, you will not achieve the full results of having the ideal physique you want to achieve, right? It's like having a business. Let's just say you have a business and you're trying to start a restaurant. And what's enjoyable and what you want, and the reason why you want to start a restaurant is because you love food. You love to see people's reactions eating your great food. That's what's enjoyable about the business. But focusing on that alone is not going to make your business successful. You're also going to have to focus on all of the inventory. You're going to have to focus on the hiring process, who you're bringing on, the marketing, the advertising, the accounting side of the business. Whether you get help for this or not, you have to focus equal attention on the parts of the business that may not be enjoyable, but is 100% needed. Like that attention is needed there to achieve the success you want, right? In trading, it's the same thing. In trading, what's really enjoyable or gives you a dopamine hit is taking a trade and making some money, right? But just doing that, everybody understands, is not going to find you success in trading, right? The financial markets are a ruthless, greedy, corrupt, man-made machine, right? That's primarily algorithmic run based now, 90% of the market, I would say, right? If if you do not focus the attention on the parts that you do not enjoy, but that is 100% needed for trading success, such as learning macroeconomics, for example, or having some type of financial market economics understanding. Come on, right? Back testing the technicals, back testing analysis, doing daily analysis and marking up trade ideas. Focusing on the risk management, focusing on the trading psychology. All of those aspects may not be the most enjoyable parts of the trading success you want to achieve. But we all understand that you need just as much attention and focus on those aspects to find success. Another example is if you wanted to be a pro athlete. The enjoyable part is getting to play your sport on the main stage, in front of millions of people on TV, making money for that. That's the enjoyable part of following your passion. But to be at that level, to have that success, to make the sacrifice to enjoy that part, you don't see what's going on behind the scenes with the nutrition, the amount of training, the years of studying the sport they are involved in, understanding the game, the ins and outs. You don't see that side, and that side may not be as enjoyable, but it is 100% needed. Some of the most successful people in the world are the people who enjoy all aspects of what they are involved in. If you can learn to enjoy what you are doing all the entire process and always be a student to the game and continuously learning, then the disciplinary part doesn't seem as hard for your brain because you're sort of forcing this dopamine and activity onto your brain and saying like, you know what, I'm learning something new. I'm going through a trial and error process. I'm getting a new experience here. I'm bettering myself for the long term. This is what's truly enjoyable. This is what's truly fulfilling. This is what's truly can bring happiness to me. Not scrolling on TikTok, not jerking my dick off on porn for hours a day, not playing video games for hours a day, mindlessly wasting away, not just constantly going on social media to get some validation or, you know what I mean? None of that stuff is real, true enjoyment. That is all just stimuli and dopamine hits, whether it be from a substance you're abusing, whether it be from too much media that you're giving attention to, Netflix, whatever the fuck it is. If you're giving too much time and attention to it and that product or service is designed to farm your attention, it's designed to literally give you short-term spurts of dopamine hit to keep you on there and for as many hours as possible, you should fucking stay away from that. It's just like once you start to like wake up a bit, it's like, what the fuck are people doing? You know what I mean? But it's not that easy to see. It's this is all hidden. All this is hidden in the modern society because people have become so dependent on technology, so dependent on convenience, so dependent on the government and dependent on other people, products, or services that they lack any independence, of course, and they no longer even think about this stuff. It's normalized because what this does is, as I always tell you guys and girls, women, men, other 50 genders, I don't give a fuck. All right. What I always tell you is the system is already set in place, and the people who benefit in the system, the 1% who control the wealth of the 99% and control the majority of resources and dictate day-to-day decisions through the education system, media, propaganda, the food system, big pharma. It's all just one big circle of us being the consumers and us being literally the hamsters on the wheel and just feeding this big cycle that all goes generally back into the same hands. Generally, it's going all back into the same hands at the top there. You know what I mean? So the way the system is designed, they don't want you to understand that the enjoyment and dopamine hits people are getting right now are actually destroying their livelihood. It's actually destroying what makes people human. It's numbing them out. It's killing their attention span. It's making them more depressed. Suicide rates are going up. We're in an era where connectivity is at the highest, but people interact the least. There's no more real human, organic, general interaction anymore. All of that shit is going down the drain. So what's that telling you? That means that all this TikTok shit, Pornhub shit, OnlyFans, like even all this, even the mindless stuff on YouTube, Instagram stuff, social media, fake lives, fake news propaganda, it's all designed to turn you into a consumer and dehumanize you. So we just keep feeding the system, and then you just move closer and closer to a totalitarian government where the state has full control, like George Orwell 1984 Big Brother, and we're seeing it live. We're seeing that play. We're literally seeing it play out in our eyes over the last 2 years, especially. But this has been going on for the last 40 years. But anyways, I'm starting to get a bit too off topic. Okay, let's go back to the topic here, where the focus is on the discipline and consistency. So the examples that I'm trying to give you guys, when you're just a couple of minutes ago, when we're talking about someone who's striving to be a pro athlete, someone who has the passion of opening up a restaurant because they're a chef and they're going through that side, somebody who wants to be a trader, somebody who wants to be another type of businessman, person who wants to be a lawyer, whatever it is, right? We can see that the common denominator is there is a ton of focus and discipline and a disciplinary path followed by the people who find success, regardless what avenue of their life, on the items and activities day to day that are not necessarily enjoyable or what you're really enjoying, but is 100% a part of the process and 100% needed to really achieve that success, right? And at the end of the day, on trading, like the trading example was, for example, why people lack discipline and consistency in trading is because regardless if it's trading, regardless if it's going to the gym, people do not want to consistently do what is not enjoyable. Your brain is going to send you signals that you're getting involved in something new, that is challenging, that is stressful, that is bringing tension. That means your brain is going to have to get out of comfort mode, and it doesn't want to do that. So it's going to send signals to avoid these things or be scared of these things. In trading, what's enjoyable for everybody is potentially making money. But just focusing on that aspect alone, we all understand, will not find you success in trading, because the statistic that exists with retail traders is that 90% of retail traders lose. And that is 100% because they lack emotional control and they lack that discipline. What is the issue? Where are they lacking the discipline is the question, right? Where are these traders lacking the discipline? They're not lacking the discipline with taking trades. All these retail traders have no problem depositing, looking at the chart and taking trades. That's not where the discipline is lacking, because they enjoy that. The discipline is lacking on the aspects of trading that they do not enjoy, but is a part of the process to find success, such as studying the markets, actually taking time and effort out of your day, sacrificing hours that you may have been using towards a short-term satisfaction activity, and focusing it on learning about macroeconomics and learning how global financial markets work. Because imagine a lawyer not learning about law and only following this TV show Suits or following Judge Judy. Imagine a doctor not actually studying medicine and says, "Nah, I watch Grey's Anatomy. I'm good." Would you trust him? Would you trust that doctor? Would you trust that lawyer who says, "Nah, man, I watch Judge Judy. I watch Judge Joe Brown every week. I'm good. I get it." So imagine traders who have no understanding about economics, no understanding about finance, and they're trading financial markets. When you look at it that way, you go, "What the fuck? You're right." Okay? So what is not enjoyable for the majority of retail traders is focusing on risk management, focusing on the math and probabilities of trading, focusing on trading psychology and developing your trading habits to be on a successful path, not having a gambling personality or addictive personality. That means that takes a lot of self-awareness and work to change bad habits that you have outside of trading. You're going to have to be self-aware and go through changes to become a successful trader. You can't just, you have to have the risk management, money management, emotional control, and all of that, right? So why 90% of retail traders lose is because they don't focus their discipline on those aspects of trading that is 100% needed for success. Even more, like that side needs more attention than anything else. That's the example for trading, right? Without focusing discipline where it's needed, you will never find consistency in whatever you're doing. So the example with working out is you can go to the gym and start enjoying lifting weights and getting the pump and feeling good, getting the sweat. But if you don't put just as much attention on what you are fueling your body, which may not be as enjoyable to go grocery shop, to actually cook the food, maybe you have to sacrifice junk food, maybe you have to sacrifice some foods you really love to eat, and it's not enjoyable, but it's 100% needed to achieve the body you want, right? With a trader, you might enjoy taking the trades. You might enjoy potentially taking some money, right? But if you do not enjoy studying the markets, if you do not enjoy changing your bad habits psychologically, if you do not enjoy focusing on the risk management and the probability side of trading, and you do not put your discipline towards that or any time and effort towards that, you're not going to be a successful trader. You're not going to make any money in the market consistently. Okay, so the takeaway from this webinar is when you are on a path of self-development, whether you're trying to learn more about the markets, whether you are trying to develop your body, develop into a business, learn a new skill set, when you are doing the tasks that you do not enjoy and you are understanding you do not enjoy these tasks, but logically thinking you know they're needed for success in that avenue, you have to put more, you have to consciously think and put more attention towards all of that and even learn to enjoy that more. It's as simply as saying you have to learn to love the entire process. Everybody says that line, love the process. You got to love the process, bro. But nobody focuses on what makes up the process. The thing that kills people off loving the process is that a good 75% of the process are doing things that you may not find enjoyable, that may be boring, that may be stressful, that may bring tension to your brain, that may cause you to face some challenges and hurdles, right? So all of us, a part of the brotherhood, man or woman, dog or cat, whatever you want to identify as, whatever floats your fucking boat. If you are part of this brotherhood that is trying to develop yourself and not be addicted to your phone, not be mindlessly wasting hours on social media and TikTok, you want to live a more fulfilling life and fill your brain with an abundance of knowledge and value, you want to make more money, you want to have a better body, you want to feel better and have more confidence, the focus is put more time and attention on the things that you do not like to do. I don't care if your brain says this doesn't feel good. I don't care if your brain says, oh, this isn't comfortable right now. Okay? It doesn't matter. You have to. It is completely 100% needed. It is a necessity. It is a need. Okay? Once you can learn to do that, once you can learn to work through the items and activities that you do not enjoy to do, like for example in trading, you can learn to enjoy studying the markets, or at least consistently put time studying the markets. Or within working out, you put more time into learning how to cook or studying the nutrition side. You may not enjoy that. It may be difficult on the first when you're first getting into it, but when you put more time and attention into this and then you do it day in and day out, that is where consistency comes from. Okay? That is where consistency is built. Consistency is built off of strict discipline and working towards the activities and events that you do not necessarily enjoy doing, but you must do to achieve the long-term success you want in whatever avenue you're trying to achieve that success in. This is a universal concept across the board. Doesn't matter if you want to be a bodybuilder, doesn't matter if you want to be a successful trader, a business person, a salesman, an entrepreneur, a professional athlete, YouTuber, doesn't matter. You must have that discipline to put in extra time and effort into what is going on behind closed doors and when the curtains are closed and when you're not doing that sliver that is enjoyable. You have to put more time and attention towards that. Okay? Does everybody understand? I don't want to make these too long, you know? Does everybody understand? Goes very well with everything else we're talking about. Any questions before I sign off here? Fucking traps are coming through the hoodie here. It's extra large. Focus, correct. Focus on what makes you uncomfortable. Where does one go to study fundamentals? If you didn't know how to find Instagram, where would you go to search and find Instagram? Or search for a funny video your friend told you about? Where would you go to search for that? It's very easy to think about, oh, if I want to find a funny video, if I want to search up a song, if I want to search up a TV show, oh, I can go to Google. I can go to YouTube. But if I want to search up and study fundamentals, oh, where do I go all of a sudden? Remember, you have a supercomputer in your hand. You have access to a supercomputer. Right? Very weak mindset. Who cares about being lonely? Who cares? Just to be blunt, if you watch this with the other webinars, I respect your question. And I understand your question because obviously when you're going on this path, it is going to be lonely. You're going to have to maybe cut off some friends, People, you might not be having the time to talk to people. You're going to be focusing on your grind and hustle, whatever it may be. It's going to be more lonely. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Like when you really, like, I'm just trying to relate with you. When you really sit and think about it, what's the impact? Who gives a fuck? What are you losing out on? Let me ask you that. What are you losing out on by being lonely? What are you losing out on? What are you losing out on? You know what I mean? Right? Think about it that way. But, so think about it that way. You're going to have to make some sacrifices to find this long term success. So that might be getting off social media. That might be facing some loneliness. That might be facing stress and tension. Right? But what are you losing out on when you go through that? You lose nothing. You're not if you cut out social media, what are you losing out on? Nothing. If you cut out video game hours, what are you losing out on in terms of value? Nothing. If you're worried about being lonely, what are you losing out on by being lonely? Nothing, right? But what do you lose out on if you don't follow your hopes and dreams? As fucking corny, as corny as that sounds, if you don't follow a path of fulfillment in terms of developing yourself as a better human being in various avenues of your life, you're losing out on that if you don't do that. You're losing out on this end image you have of what you want, what you see. Everybody, like I talked about this in another webinar. No matter how depressed you may be, no matter how sad you may be, no matter how doubtful or scared you may be, every single one of us has at one point in our lives, even if it's faded away for you a bit, every single one of us has had an image in our brains of how we dreamed ourselves to look like the best. Not just physically, of the type of house we wanted to live in, the type of car we wanted to drive, the type of person and man or woman you wanted to be in society, the type of respect you wanted to have, the way you wanted to look physically. We have all, at one point in your life, or still have an image of what you truly want out of life, and it doesn't go away. That's that fire. That's your spirit, right? That is your hunger. That's your spirit. When you don't follow this path of discipline, you lose out on that image. You will never be able to attain that image. You will never be able to attain that life. You will never be able to attain that freedom, that self-worth, that fulfillment if you do not stay on a disciplinary path. You lose out on all that. You lose out on that. You lose out on being your best self. There's no possibility of achieving it. But if you cut out social media, if you cut out Pornhub, if you cut out video games, if you cut out wasted time looking at memes on Instagram, if you cut out fucking worrying about being lonely, or look at worrying about being sad temporarily or facing stress and tension, you don't lose out on anything there. You know why you don't lose out on anything there? Because there's no value there for you. The value in social media is for the people who are making money off of social media, for the big data companies who are farming your attention. They're taking value from you. They're getting the value from you, but you don't get any value from it, right? So why is everybody so focused on that? It's because it's the way society is programmed. The 1% who control the 99%, they want the system to stay as it is because the current system has the majority of people a very strong consumer, but no longer a strong human being. They've lost what makes them human, their willpower, their hunger, their fight for more. They've lost that, their spirit. Right? What do you see on social media? Nothing. You know what I mean? But anyways, I don't want to make this too long, everybody. I hope you guys enjoy these Friday self-development live videos. The main summary and takeaway from this webinar is that for anybody who is on a path of self-development and improvement, regardless what avenue it is, put more time and attention to the activities and events in that industry or avenue that are not enjoyable but are 100% needed. Okay? Focus more on what is making you uncomfortable, what is not enjoyable right away, but you know, logically thinking is 100% needed for success within that industry or avenue. Whether it be fitness and developing your physique, whether it be becoming a successful trader, a professional athlete, opening your own restaurant, whatever it is. First, you have to be self-aware enough and logical enough to say, what am I getting involved in? What are the criteria that is needed to be met to find success here? Right? When you're a successful trader, you know you need to have good understanding and good skill set in risk management, probabilities, macroeconomics, finance, technicals, emotional control. Right? Back testing, studying. When you're trying to develop your physique, you know you're going to have consistent, good, strong workouts. And you're also going to have to focus just as much attention on the rest, the nutrition, how you're fueling your body, what you're putting in, the intake, making sacrifices on foods you may previously have enjoyed but are no longer good for you. In a business, you might be opening a restaurant and you may love to cook, but to have a successful restaurant, you have to make sure your accounting and numbers are right. You making sure you're doing inventory in a fashion where you're making good profit margins. You're getting inventory from good sources. All these partnerships you're creating, the marketing, the advertising, all that needs just as much attention to have a successful restaurant. All those aspects may not be enjoyable, but we have to focus more attention on them. We have to learn to enjoy and love the entire process. And 75% of the process is not enjoyable. Okay? So I'll see you guys later. Have a good Friday. Take care.